Right, welcome to another Keeping It Business podcast. I have the lovely Sandy Hearn with us from Elite PA Solutions. Sandy, introduce yourself and all about your business.
Hi, Adam. So thanks for having me here. Made it eventually. So my business is Elite PA Solutions. We're a virtual PA agency based in the West Midlands. I'm myself and based in Rugby. The team is dispersed throughout the UK. So we support telephone ringing, non-exec directors, independent business owners, really people who've stepped off the corporate ladder and are setting up on their own. They're used to having that PA support and that true right-hand support. And then that's where we come in, paid by the hour for as much or as little as you need.
Excellent, excellent. So, and there are a range of services that you do within that as well. And is there a particular business person that you're after, size of business and
Yeah, I think primarily it is that traditional PA support, so lots of diary management, lifestyle management things, travel, everything across the board on that front. Event management has come into it pre-COVID, where we've organised things and then travelled to Europe to attend those events on behalf of our clients. So it's really, I think, as the team has grown and it's not just me in the business anymore, our ability to deliver has widened, if that makes sense to you.
Absolutely. That's exactly
Yeah.
what you want. Fantastic, that is.
So I don't really do social media and things. We obviously do that in our own business, but it's not a service that I promote. If somebody was looking for support with that, then there is the capacity and the ability within the team to do it, but it's not what we've attracted. We seem to have attracted that premium level of support where they need to know that we're going to be proactive, we're going to think for them and make decisions for them. Types of businesses, it really is small independents. As I said, so non-exec directors, they might sit on 4 or 5 FTSE boards and they need support with the diary management side of that and, you know, the scheduling of everything that comes with that. And then leadership coaches are becoming a bit of a theme within Elite PA Solutions at the moment. So that could be anything from podcasts to a book launch, which has just happened with one client. So there's lots involved with all of that, and we just turn our hand to all of it.
Fantastic. That's exactly what you want. So, where did it all? Oh, well, actually, so from a career point of view, where did it start off for you within your career?
So when I left home, my parents were living in Papua New Guinea at the time. So I was like 17, just over 17, and I came to the UK. They were British originally. And I started out wanting to be a solicitor.
Right.
So I started at Northampton doing the legal exec course, which I didn't pursue in the end. I then, for family reasons really, I left and moved back to South Africa, which was where we were in our early childhood. And at that time, I got involved within hospitality. So I was front of house within hotels out in South Africa. After my 21st, came back to the UK because my parents had come back here. And that's when I went to London.
Yeah.
So I started off at the Hilton on Park Lane, doing the same, front of house, having a fabulous time because although we were poorly paid, the social life was fantastic. So made some great friends from all over the world really during that time. And I think once I'd had my fix of that and realized that actually I loved my job, but I wasn't being paid particularly well. And by being a PA, I could be paid more. So I then found myself a PA role. I don't have any kind of formal qualification as a PA. I would say I'm just a born organizer, and just like to get into the detail of what goes on. So that's when I started out in a property consultants as a PA within HR. And a few years later was mid-20s. I backpacked for a period, went to Australia, a friend from the Hilton was getting married, so I went out there, and I was on a working visa for a year. And then came back, and that's when I started at Spencer Stewart as a PA to the partner within the board practice, board and consumer practice she was at the time. And I started that job having told the agency I did not want to work for a woman. And actually, within 2 weeks, she had offered me the job because I had gone in as a temporary cover, and then she said, I want you to stay. And I'm still in touch with her today. She's now retired, but that was 25 years ago. So
it's amazing how
I just loved it.
Yeah, it's amazing how we do come across these certain individuals that do play a big part in your life, early on, and stay with you. I've got a few of them that have stayed with me right from an early career, and I'm still with now, and still we still mingle in the same circles now.
Yeah. I mean, as a boss, she taught me a huge amount. And I think that's what I value about that relationship. And actually, I was an important part of her role there. She fully knew that she couldn't deliver what she needed to deliver without my support. And having a boss like that, makes you want to do more for them, doesn't it? Yeah. Someone who appreciates and values you and respects you, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
but I'm going to backtrack because
okay.
I'm intrigued as why you didn't want to work for a woman.
Yeah, so I think, it's naivety, I guess. I was young. I had worked within hospitality. It was a very mixed environment. When I then took on my first PA role, it was working for a woman as her PA. She was a personnel officer at the time. And I just felt that she was holding me back. She wasn't promoting me or pulling me forward and I don't know what I based that on, really. That was just the feeling I had. So after a couple of years, I thought, no, if I want to progress, I need to move. And it is naivety, because I straight away said to the agency, I don't want to work for a woman. And now, actually, I haven't totaled it up, but I would say maybe 50-60% of our client base is women.
Yeah, okay.
So there's still a mix within the client base. And I support 3 women, myself, and 2 men of what I do at the moment on client work. So it was naive and probably silly, but I'm glad I went for that job, is the lesson that I learned, because you can't judge it on one experience or one situation. You have to take what you learned from that situation and still go on to the next.
I mean, again, I'm intrigued around this, and the reason I'm intrigued around this is that the live that we did on Facebook last night was about gut feel and intuition. And your gut feel was, I don't want to work for a woman. What made you change your mind?
Well, obviously this woman made me change it, and the agency begged me to go along. I haven't listened to that live on Facebook, but I did see it, and I thought, I must listen to that, because I do rely on my gut a lot in my business, and my sense, that intuition. But is it always right? I would say 90% of the time it is right, is it not?
Right. Okay. Now there is. I do use gut feel, and generally it is in ethical and moral situations, because they're emotion based. Business decisions, though, and this is where I was coming back to it from this point of view, is business decisions, if we make and rely on gut feel, we can be a case that we are getting out of our comfort zone. So if you take your example of what you said, I don't want to work for a woman, and let's say that decision had stopped at that, and you didn't work for that woman, without doing the research and getting into it, you've missed that opportunity that you had and all that learning you had from this lady. Okay, based on a gut feel. So the where I come into this from a business point of view is turning around and saying, yes, you do have you've got your gut feel, but don't rob yourself of actually doing the research and the due diligence into that business decision. Don't just use your gut feel and switch it off. Actually research and manage by fact and see what happens, because that will actually be probably different. And this is where I think that probably, because I'm quite I can be quite emotion driven, and I could make a decision on the spur of the moment and go off in a completely different direction, which is the wrong direction. 9 times out of 10 probably for me, because I'm can fire off and just go off, with emotion, make the decision, gone, because I'm that quick in making a decision. Whereas if you reflect, research, manage by data, you'll make a more informed decision. You still marry it up with your gut feel. But yeah, no two ways about it. Gut feel on ethical, moral things. Like I was saying last night, is I could write an email. As I'm writing the email, and I'm sitting there just about to click send off, as I've read through it, and I start to think, "Oh, do I really need to send that?"
Yeah,
that's a flag for me, because if I'm asking myself, "Do I really need to send it?" That's a gut feel. Don't send it. For me.
Yes, exactly. So
it plays a part. But it's just on these business decisions that there's. I've seen too many businesses.
It's almost like you're almost listening to it, but you're still going to do it.
Yeah.
But actually, you've got the awareness of how you made that decision. So you will always think, I remember how I felt about this. And actually, this is now, as it's, panning out 2 or 3 months ahead, you can see that perhaps it's okay to go and take that risk to go with it.
Yeah.
But you're not ignoring that gut feel, are you? You're acknowledging it.
So it's just acknowledging it and then saying, actually, I need to do a little bit of work here to find out exactly if this is the right move. If my gut's telling me I shouldn't, but go and do the research into it, because you may find a whole host different more information and make a far more informed decision.
Would you say it also comes with experience? Because when we're in our 20s, we're a bit...
I think it does. Now, that's a good question, is it? I'm thinking, who's interviewing who here? That's a good question.
I like it.
Now, you see, I'm an engineer, so we were always trained to manage by fact, never by emotion. What's happening, observe and take information, get information, know your numbers, look at that research and look at the data. What's it telling you? So it's instilled in me. So I don't really know much different. Obviously get the gut feel, but I don't really know any different. So, but yes, I could definitely say, because your emotions as you're younger, you tend to, I don't know, fly off.
Yes.
You might have a short temper, fly off quicker and things like that. I've got a short temper now, but I know how to manage it. But same with my daughter.
Exactly.
But yeah, it is, and that's what we were discussing last night. And that's what maybe that's what intrigued me around that, is because you could rob yourself of that absolutely fantastic information that you got, all based on a gut feel. I got motion.
And not even when you look at it from the financial point of view, which, we all look at that at times, don't we? I think I nearly doubled what I was earning when I made that move. And I was almost like, wow, they're seriously going to pay me this much to do this? So it was a completely different role to the role before. And I had complete authority to, make the decisions, and we were a team. And that's what's so important, I think, in any relationship, whether it's working or between clients, or it's the relationship and the communication that it all comes down to.
It is, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And when you look back at that time with that lady, what sort of things did you really take away from it and the learning from her?
I think almost her structure, her way of operating, the way that she she dealt with people no matter what their level. So we were in executive search at that time. She was dealing with, you know, big CEOs and, you know, recruiting and headhunting for them. She valued everybody around her to contribute their piece in order for her then to deliver the candidate that they needed or wanted, because they were headhunting people. She was just open and honest, and yeah, she was human. And I always remember in the early days, you know, you would collect somebody from reception in those days and you would take them to a meeting room and offer them a coffee. And I would do all of that. And it could be the, you know, CEO of, I don't know, Sainsbury's or Tesco's or something. And she would wait for me to come back from having made the coffee and say, so what were they like? And I was like, pardon? She's like, how were they? And then I learned that what she was looking for was how they interacted with me, how they treated me as a PA, as her PA, because it comes back to she couldn't deliver what she needed to without me, or without the support of her PA. And once I'd met them, which she also felt was really important, is if I'd met them, then when they called about something and she was in a meeting, they would talk to me as if they knew me because they'd met me. And then I would obviously meet their PAs as well. And then the communication would become between PA to PA. And I think a lot of people underestimate, well, do they? I don't know. From where I've seen, they do underestimate the value of that relationship between two PAs, because we really do build the relationship. And then if something that I'm needing or my boss is needing, I'll just go to the PA and she'll be like, leave it with me. And 2 hours later, we've got it. And that's PA to PA rather than, you know, yeah, we are gatekeepers, but the intention behind the gatekeeping is to protect the person that you're working for, but also to help move things on and keep things moving.
It is, the thing for me is that it's. I mean, I've used the term gatekeeper. We tend to use that term gatekeeper in a sales, a marketing position. And in some respects, it's not very flattering, really. This is me, in my view, in my opinion, it's not very flattering. You know, to call somebody an exec PA, to call an exec PA a gatekeeper, because having had them, work with them, they are just keep you in line, keep you organised, give you so much time back to give you focus. They are worth their weight in gold. So yeah.
But I think it just also comes back to different people have got different characters, haven't they? And they feel, well, they're only going to deal with X, they're not going to deal with somebody below. But actually, if they opened their mind and dealt with the PA, then, you know, it's been a long time since I was office based in an industry, so things might have changed. But
I think you hit it on the head earlier when you said it's human. It's human to human. It's like sales. It's human to human.
Yeah.
So you know, and I've never got this how we can. You get me on a rant. How we can disregard people just because of their position in what they do. That annoys the hell out of me. That does. Yeah. That annoys, because everybody within the business has a value added to that business in making sure that it performs properly and to its best. And then it annoys the hell out of me. That does.
Yeah.
So was that from working with that lady? Was that you then decided to set up your own business, or did you go into some?
So I talk about this role like I was there for 20 years. I wasn't. I was there in the office for probably 7 years, I think it was. Okay. And I was living in London at the time. And then obviously I'd got married and we were expecting my first daughter. So we moved out of London at that point and came up to the Midlands. And I commuted for a year while I was pregnant, but she always knew that I wouldn't come back to a bum on seat role. And, this is 17 years ago, this June, that I left. And I left on the basis that I couldn't come back to an office-based role. And of course, there was no role for me to work from home, which to me, the role could have been done from home. But yeah, it was all, we're not setting a precedent. There was 35 EAs in the office. If they did it for me, they'd have to do it for everybody. Or within time, they would have to do it for everybody.
How times have changed.
Exactly. So I did go back and work part-time for them quite quickly after I'd had Abby, but it wasn't for the full scope of the role. So I really was doing the back office stuff, and I was being a support to all the other EAs in the office, which was fine and it served its purpose. But I was underutilized. I wasn't using my brain. It was demoralizing and all of those things. But again, for that period of, 2004 to 2012, I was working part-time for them. I had my second daughter. Things change in life. And by 2012, they were both at school. They were both settled in school. And I thought, well, do you know what? Actually, the chairman of that business contacted me and said, I've got a friend, she writes for Vogue. She's looking for transcription work to be done. And I'm like, fine. But all of my equipment was their equipment. He said, doesn't matter, just use it. I said, well, what do I charge her? Charge her what you like. So I did. And actually, I just did that on top of my 20 hours a week for them. And then it really got me thinking that I still had all of these skills that I was missing. So I'd seen an article in Woman and Home of a virtual PA at the time, Alicia Cowan, and she was talking about her VA business. And I thought, right, that's what I'm doing. So that's what I started to do. So between 2012 and 2014, I was at that point single mum. And I then went to working my 20 hours a week for my employed role and 20 hours a week in my business. So I was working day and night because I did, 2 days for the employed role and 3 evenings. And then I found clients that I could fit into the other days. And my very first client who joined me back then in 2012 is still with me today. He won't go. Not that he needs to go, but I do keep saying I could really pass you on to an associate, and he's like, no, trust you, like you, want to work with you.
Yeah. I suppose there is that personal, relationship as well that comes into it from that side.
But then also when I look back, as because it is quite daunting to start out and know that actually my employed role was providing what we needed, but I knew within time I would have to work hard for a good few years, but within time I could start to see the benefits of my business.
Yep.
So that was a really important decision, and that's just my work ethic, is I would rather be working than not working. So when I made that transition and started to talk about my business, a lot of people who'd left that company that I was with, they became my greatest ambassadors. And I was quite surprised because we knew each other, we worked together, but I didn't know that they thought so highly of me, because I think what I do, everybody does.
Yeah.
And
it is those perceptions that we do have internally with ourselves can actually be a stumbling block as well within that, or a limiting factor until we can get through that barrier. So coming back to this split of the temporary role and building your business, you're a freelancer, as you might say, I suppose, at that point.
Yeah.
How did you find that in trying to build that? What was the hardest thing you found in doing that?
I think initially, when I look back, I wish I'd done it sooner. Left the employed role, but it was purely financially driven for me. When I could support myself with what I had on the VA side, I ditched the employed role in effect. And And I think for the first 3 years of my business, I was an employee in my business. I literally won the clients and worked for the clients. So I wasn't really building or progressing my business as such. It was only really in 2017 that I thought, do you know what? I can keep working for everybody myself, or I can make the transition to start to grow. I think when you first start out, it's really daunting because you think that you need everything just perfect and in place. But actually, the most important thing for me was I needed the equipment, I needed the insurance so that I was protected, and I needed to have the clients to actually start earning. So I think we overthink that we've got to have our website, we've got to have all our social media channels, you know, tickety-boo, and I don't think we do. I think that comes as we grow, but to begin with, I think you just need to be earning.
No, you just, yeah, exactly. You know, you need money in the door and helping and supported, and things do change as they grow. So, and I think when you look at it, I always look at it from if you're on your own point of view, you're restricted by your own capacity.
Yeah.
So you're a potentially 6-figure, could probably push into 7 figures. I would say more than likely 6-figure, 5 to 6-figure, 6-figure, wouldn't you? 6-figure business that you can get to probably as a singular person. But then if you want to grow, then you've got to bring other people in to release some of that capacity and train some of that capacity and scale and grow again, like you've done from your business around, you know, bringing in the different people.
Yeah.
And that just sets you on a different track again then. So how did you find that transition in going from being on your own now to having an associate with you?
I think once you've done it, it's like anything when you're doing something for the first time. You are worried about it, you are scared about it. I found my first associate. I didn't know her. I knew the client because he was former Spencer Stewart, where I'd worked, and I was honest with him. I said, I can't do it myself. I will need to find you somebody. And that's what I did.
Is that the point where you actually thought, actually, I could do more of that, and that set you in a different...
I knew it was a model within the VA industry.
Yeah.
I just never thought that I could do it, maybe. But when I had that initial call in my office-based role, I did the first stage of interviewing of PAs. Obviously, the PA agency would send CVs, I would screen them, I would meet a handful, and then I would introduce them onto the partner. So I thought it's confidence again. So I used all of those skills that I had to then find people to bring onto my team. And that's what I did. The first associate I did, they were working together for about 6 months, 9 months maybe. And then they decided that they wanted to work together and take me out of it. So that was, you think, oh gosh, wasn't expecting this. But I did work through that, and I ended up selling the client contract to that associate. And I believe they are still working together today. So, you know, that's great. They've got a perfect match by Sandy Hearn and they're still working together. It didn't burn my fingers, but it was an experience, which I was pleased with the result of. But then I'm quite, I'm financially astute, and I just think I'm not going to just say, okay, fine, go and work together. It's like, hang on, this is my client. So we did work that through. And since then, I've brought on, 6, 7 other associates, and some of them are working with more than one client of mine. you know, they value that because they may just be starting out, or they may be struggling to find their own clients.
Did you change anything contractually from? I was just going to say, so it was a big learning ground, yeah, because there is so much within the T's and C's and contracts.
Yeah,
So
I won't say exactly what I've done there, but yes, there's some numbers involved now.
No, yeah, absolutely, because it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it did work. So again, from absolutely valuable experience.
Yeah.
And a valuable learning, because it's bridged the gap that was there and
yes,
put
exactly.
something in place.
Yeah. And a lot of what I was involved with at Spencer Stuart, because they were submitting proposals, and so the process I learned from there really. And the business development, the communicating with clients, that doesn't faze me to have conversations with my clients, whereas it can other people who haven't been exposed to that level within their working life, I think. So
there is a definite difference as well. It is for working at that level for some big clients. There is a definite difference, and you can see that. I can see that because we've known each other a little while now, and I can see that level.
So that all comes back to that role, and that particular lady Anne that I worked for, and others within that organisation, as I said, who have supported me and referred clients to me and things. So
so is there anything that you would I can say wish you'd have known that you didn't know at that point?
I think for me, when I look back at it, I think I wish that when I was settled in that employed role, I knew about this world of self-employment or freelance, or having your own business, because there's definitely lots of it out there, and there was 20 years ago, but it wasn't on my radar at all. So I think if I'd known about that in my late 20s, really, I didn't come into my business by default, but actually my business solved my problem. And that's how I got into business, because I needed the flexibility and I needed to be there for school runs, etc. So it solved that problem. But had I have known about that before I thought about having children, I wish I'd known that, because I would have started to set up the business at that point and then gone off to have my children. So it's hindsight, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it is hindsight. Okay, so I'm going to move on to some questions now. We've been going for about 40 minutes. So one of them, which is at the top, as I've just looked over here, because I've got it written down, as I've just looked over here, one of them was, what do you wish you had known when you first started out? But you've answered that. What do you think your unique skill is?
Unique skill? Oh, I don't know. The ability to talk to people and communicate with them, I guess, in terms of just being open and honest, and but then organisation as well.
And that's where
my life's organised within an inch of it.
When I, because as I say, as I've known you and met you, the organisation is definitely that ability to communicate at any level. I can see that as well. But you're also, when you make your decision to do something, you do it, and you do it to a very high standard.
Yeah, I think our clients would say it's that premium level of service that we're delivering, because although they might only be requesting 20 or 30 hours a month, it's the responsiveness. We're not saying we're not available for 2 days. We're here and we're responding to stuff and we're dealing with stuff, even if it is 20 hours a month that we're supporting them for. And again, that comes down to communication, because I talked about my very first client, and he knows that I say it, he's quite low level because I do 20 hours a month for him. But I always say to him, just send me an email with urgent in the subject line. If you need it urgently, I will get it back to you for what you need. But anything else, he will just send and send and send, and I can just fit that in when I want to. So it's just setting your process and communicating to clients, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, have you ever had any moments when you thought, shit, I wish I'd never have done this?
No, I don't.
Yeah,
No, I wish I'd done it sooner.
Yeah, just you wish you'd do so, yeah.
I guess pre-COVID, there was a little bit of times where I thought, oh, I really need to be in an office, not as an employee, not in a million years, but just to be somewhere where there was other people. So whether it was a co-working space or something like that, that I went to a day or two a week. And I think that was just coming back to, you're always in your home office. There's nobody coming or going, which I quite like, because I can just get focused and get on with what I need to do. But there is days where you have that bit of a blip and you think, actually, I could just do with having a coffee with somebody or chatting something through. So things like that, I was starting to think, oh, do I need a co-working space? Since COVID, and we've all been forced just to be at home, I seem to have just got comfortable with being here and not feeling like I need to go and have coffee somewhere. Or so whether that comes back or not, because I did think at some points, or maybe I need an office. But then it's an overhead that I don't need. I've got an office, yeah. The door gets closed at the end of the day, and
that's how I look at it. It's just I mean, so, talking about the hub, that is another venture that I do want to do. I was just about to sign the dotted line in March of 2020.
Oh, right.
And then the COVID lockdown.
Yeah. I've had a few people mention how they've had lucky escapes on things where their office lease was coming up for renewal and they've managed to downsize what they needed and things. But no.
And I think I mean, I'm still in communication with the gentleman. He has leased it because it's a training room, and then there's another room off of that I was going to create a business hub in. Hot desk seats for exactly that reason, as you were saying, is that I was getting a lot of people turning around and say, I could just do with somewhere to go for 1 or 2 days a week, and that sort of like thought, okay, I know exactly the spot, and so I will still, I think, go down that route. How do you continue to learn in order to stay on top of things within your own? Do you?
Yeah, so I have been part of a group which I have just come out of, which was a VA group, where there would be different learning events and things happening. I think it's different. I have worked with a coach in the past, which has helped me, just continue to step up and step out. And there's different online things that you can join on, all sorts of things. So I do a little bit of it. I don't say I do a huge amount of it. Networking, you learn from others.
Yeah.
So I've been doing more of that in the last couple of years than I did before. So, and then you just suddenly realize how much you do know.
Yeah, because I know you've gone into different things within Elite PA as well. Because you've done and created online courses as well now, haven't you?
So that's really off the back of COVID. Not that the client base was impacted, but I think the work that I was doing with my non-exec directors did reduce slightly because there was no travel involved, there was no flight bookings or things like that. So I then started to think about how I could share my knowledge and experience as a PA with anybody who perhaps is never going to want to work with us or work with another VA, but could learn something from, the diary tips or the time management tips that I've been sharing on the online courses. So that was purely the angle I was coming at that from. I had the time to do it, so let's put it out there. Which has been good, because again, when I started that, I had no idea what portal I was going to use or how I was going to host it, or how I was going to record it or anything. So you learn. And again, you know, you help me out with the portal and things, but you learn as you go. And actually, if you don't push yourself, then you're never going to learn.
No.
Am I totally up to, you know, the CRMs and different things like that? No. If we've got something that a client's using and we need to learn, then we'll learn it. So
is there anything else on the horizon for you in, you know, because you've taken that online course and you've done that, is there anything else that you'd like to do within the business as well? Have you got ideas on?
You sound like you have a few of your own, Adam.
You know me, I'm always thinking of different things I am, but
no, I think for me, you know, you can spend a lot of time watching what other people are doing. To me, in my heart is the traditional PA support. So to build and to continue to grow the clients and the team, or even just, you know, fill up the team to capacity in terms of the clients that they're supporting. That's really where my focus is. There is another course in the pipeline. Only a thought at the moment. I haven't actually put pen to paper on that yet.
Yeah, funny enough, behind me here, there's a board of all the courses. It's 13 up there that I want to build as yet. But
and you know, the mentoring and things are in the back of my mind. You and I have talked about that, and I think, you know, in 5 years' time, it would be quite nice perhaps to give something back on that front and do that. But at the moment, I think for the next few years, it's still, I love to be involved in what I'm doing, and, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So that's a good question here then. Based on that, what makes you feel inspired or like your best self? It doesn't have to be work related.
Yeah, just, you know, in the last year, I've spent a lot of time on myself and my self-care, because I think for so long I've worked so hard in the business, but also, you know, raising 2 kids and providing and all of it. I read The Miracle Morning, so I do carve out time for myself. I do walk and yoga. I think the biggest thing, when people actually say something so lovely about what you've done, that just picks me up and keeps me driving forward, because I think sometimes we forget to stay in our own lane of what we're doing. And I think it's so important that we do, because there's millions of people out there who need support. And we've just got to stick doing the support that we do and what we know that we do well and what we deliver well on.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. It's got some standard ones here that I do ask. I do normally ask everybody. So, and there's 2. One's quite long, but this one is: if you could have a billboard with anything on it, what would it be and why?
One life, live it.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, because life's a cycle. We're not here forever.
No.
So. Yeah, definitely that.
Are you big? We had this other conversation because you mentioned. It just made me think of the gut feel and intuition we were talking about. Do you believe in this law of attraction thing? Have you ever come across the law of attraction?
Yeah, I do, because I do believe what you give out, you get back.
Okay.
Don't you?
Okay, yeah, like a karma sort of thing is if it's somewhere along the line. Yeah, I do believe in that law of attraction. I'm because there's a book around called The Secret, which I've read. It's down here.
Oh, okay.
I've got it down here. It's called The Secret, and it's all about you know, if you think about it. I don't know, but if you think about it and get this affirmation in your head. It will come to you, and I think no. If your passion is there to find it, you will find and do actions to get yourself there.
Yes, I think I'm a bit. Yeah. You can't just dream about it.
No,
yeah.
That's just my opinion on it. Others have something different.
Yeah, no, I think I'm with you on that.
So, if in 150 years science fails to save us, and all that is left is a book about your life, What would the title be?
Oh, Adam.
And what would the blurb tell us about Sandy Hearn?
Strong, independent woman.
Would that be the title,
And
or
the
would that be
blurb
the
would
blurb?
say, she never wanted it, but she got that.
Superb.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Honestly,
No,
that's
that's
like
top.
the real.
That's top.
I think you've only got yourself to rely on, and I don't mean that in a negative way,
No.
but I think again what you go through reminds you of that. And I do say it to my girls really often, not negatively, but I do say, think about yourself and think about where you want to be. Because people come and people go in and out of our lives, and we can't, no.
No, absolutely. In difficult moments, how do you stay focused?
I walk away a lot.
Yeah.
I think if I'm really under pressure or overwhelmed, I will put the dog on the lead, therapy on a lead it is, and then I come back and breathe.
Yeah.
I do. I've been using the Headspace app for a long time, and it does work.
Yeah.
Just taking 5 deep breaths and continuing. So
Yeah. No.
again, as you get older, you get wiser, don't you?
Is there one thing, the most important thing that you've learned in your life, from a business perspective? Difficult question.
I just think you've just got to be yourself, and you've got to follow what you believe, and trust what you just have to be honest.
No, yeah,
I think that answers it, but
no, I think we. Okay, so I think we shy away from being direct.
I'm very direct.
And I am. So, and I think we shy away from that too much sometimes. You don't need to be harsh, you don't need to be nasty with it, it's just being direct, open, honest. And I think we miss that. I think we
I expect that back a huge amount, and I really don't understand sometimes why you don't get that back.
Yeah.
But then I have to remind myself, and my dad always used to say, it takes all sorts to make the world go round.
Okay.
So you might not agree with what somebody else is doing or how they're conducting themselves, but they are part of the world as well. So if we were all the same, it wouldn't function, would it?
That'd be boring as well.
Yeah.
It'd be boring. How about this one then? What's something people seem to misunderstand about you?
That I'm a strong, independent woman.
Do you think? Because I would have said, in seeing you in the networking and the meetings, that certainly comes across.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people think I'm confident, but maybe not quite as confident as I come across.
So is that more internally with you than is that?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's how you see yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we're our own worst critic.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, whoever we are, we've all got that chatter in our head.
Yeah, because most people when when they've asked me around this, is I'm not confident. I'm an introvert. I'm not extrovert, and people are surprised by that. I can be when I want to be, and I can use it.
Yes,
but I'm more introverted than I am extroverted.
Yeah, I think in like the last 3 or 4 years, as I've really grown, and I was asked to present at a Women in Business conference and a seminar, and I thought, oh my God, why is she asking me? Does she want me to fail? And I agreed. And then I kind of park it until like 2 weeks before. And then I think, right, now I need to do the prep and I need to pull myself together over this. But I can remember my youngest, she must have only been 12 or 13 at the time. And she said to me, Mummy, she said, you'll be fine. just go and do what you do and they'll love you. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I think once I had done that, and then you see the reaction and how supportive everybody was, it's almost like a feather in your cap, where you think, well, actually, I can do this. So then you're going to push yourself to do the next thing that's pushing you on. I think it's just taking that first step. And at that time, I found that great acronym, FEAR, false evidence appearing real. And I love that. And I just remind myself of that every time I'm thinking, oh, no, I don't think I can do that. We can do it. We've just got to take the steps to achieve it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, definitely. That's good. That's a good point to end on as well, that is. So before we do end, where can people find you? So we've got internet, and I will put the links and everything, because I'll put a little bio in the description of the podcast, and I will put the links in there as well.
Thank you.
But website
is elitePAsolutions.com.
Yeah. I know you're on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter. I'm not hugely, but I am there. I think it's at Elite PA Solution on there. And I have got a Facebook business page as well.
Okay. It's
called Elite PA Solutions.
Well, I will put them in the links in the description.
But yeah, I mean, mainly it's LinkedIn for me. I think. Yeah.
So thank you very much. I hope it hasn't been too painful.
Oh no, it's been lovely to talk to you again.
So thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, Adam.
Not a problem.
Okey-doke.